All right. And now let us end things off with the most talked about man in mixed martial arts. Dare I say, the most talked about man in combat sports. You know that man, Dustin Poirier, just several days removed now from his big win over Conor McGregor in Abu Dhabi. Great to talk to him once again. There is so much to discuss with El Diamante. Appreciate his time as always. Dustin, how are you?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. And congratulations once again on what you accomplished in Abu Dhabi. Could I ask, like the last, what is it, 9 days? Have you ever experienced anything like this? Like, does this feel different than anything in the past, even the victory over Holloway?
You know, s- Dude, this victory, more people have reached out to me than ever before. And whether that's podcasts requests, interview requests, just, good messages, people write me emails and telling me that I inspired them or to keep chasing my dreams, keep pushing. It's all positive stuff. I'm very thankful for everyone. I know I haven't really addressed everyone on a big scale like that, but I'm getting all the messages. I'm still digesting everything from this past week and getting caught up here with my home and my life in Louisiana. But I see everything and I appreciate all the love for sure to everyone who's reached out.
Obviously, you appreciate it, but I'm just wondering, is it at all overwhelming? Like all of a sudden, you have this probably like an avalanche of people coming at you.
It is, but at the same time, if you let it be. But I protect my energy, man. I don't spread myself out too much, and I have to make sure that I continue doing that because
Mhm.
everybody wants something,
Right.
and I only have so much to give. So I just got to protect my energy.
How many times have you watched the fight at this point?
We watched it, because I fought early in the morning in Abu Dhabi, and I didn't leave till later that night. So I had probably 12 hours between the fight and heading to the airport. So we went back to my hotel room there in Abu Dhabi with my coaches, and we rewatched it there. And then when I got home, I rewatched it with my brother. So I've seen it a few times.
I mean, obviously, you've had a tremendous career at this point. Even if it, ended today, it's a Hall of Fame career. Would you say though that was the greatest moment of your career?
Dude, I think, you know, beating Max Holloway and getting an interim belt was it's tough to say, man. Like this, I've kind of been the travel and this all the people reaching out and stuff. It's kind of I've just kind of been numb to it all. The Max Holloway thing, flying back with that belt, going through the airport with the belt, coming back home to Louisiana, that felt bigger to me for some reason.
One thing that you mentioned that I haven't heard a lot of people say, but makes total sense and actually reminded me of what some basketball players said about being in the bubble at Disney over the summer and whatnot is like, when you're in isolation almost for like 2 weeks, Fight Island, the Vegas quarantine, all that stuff, it's probably really lonely and tough on the mind as you're preparing for a fight. How difficult was that for you? And did you feel at any point like you were on the verge of kind of losing your mind because you were so isolated?
Dude, I'm always on the verge. I'm always one push away from losing my mind at any day, on any day. So, um, just thinking about the fight, like for me personally, I'm pretty open with it. Like, no matter how prepared you are for these fights, going out there under those lights, anything can happen. So, of course, even being confident and knowing you're able to beat anybody in the world, I have that anxiety that builds up, and I'm just like ready to go out there and get under those lights and fight. And usually on fight week, we get there on a Tuesday and fight on Saturday. So it's 4 days of it kind of being at a heightened, I would say. But this thing, we went out there, like you said, to Vegas for 2 days, then a day in the air, and then 2 weeks out there in a hotel. And dude, that hotel is nice, and the staff there is incredible. UFC has done everything to make it as smooth as possible, and it's nice. But that doesn't change the fact that you're stuck in a hotel room thinking about the fight 2 weeks away, and with not much to do. So yeah, um, I was just spinning my wheels, thinking about it over and over and over again. I would feel good when I would go work out, break a sweat, get those endorphins going, and then things would calm back down, and I would be sitting there thinking about the fight. Good thing for me is my wife was able to come out there and meet me fight week, so that kind of took thought away from it. I was able to hang out with her.
Did you ever run into him in the hotel?
Um, just around weigh-ins and stuff. We didn't run into each other,
Okay.
getting tested or anything like that.
Okay. And when you have, this task in front of you that, meant something to you 6.5 years ago, you've talked openly how that loss changed your life and your perspective on fighting and whatnot. Did you feel, number one, did you feel more anxious than normal considering this is your chance to right this wrong, to put that one to bed? You had to talk about it for so long. Did you feel like in the days leading up to the fight, did it feel at all different than some of your other fights because of what he represented to your life and career?
No, I knew what a win would mean to my career, and I knew how big of a superstar he is, and all eyes would be on us. But I don't think that added anything. You
Okay.
know, yeah.
What about the aftermath? I'm sure you've thought about exacting revenge. Did it feel as good, more, less than what you had dreamed about?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It felt good to win for sure. That felt good, and to win in that fashion, to knock him out, to stop him. Nobody's done that, so that felt good. But I honestly haven't looked back at it or went back. I didn't go back to the room and think of this whole thing like got you back. I still don't think that.
Okay. You and your corner have been, applauded for the great game plan. Many different levels, like the takedown, the clinch, and obviously the calf kicks were huge in setting up the finish in the second round. Was the takedown and the clinch work, especially at the beginning of the fight, was that part of the plan, or was that something that just presented itself early on and you took advantage of it?
Well, we know I'm me and my team know I'm dangerous in the dirty boxing, in the clinch. So I thought I'd be able to land good shots there, and we also thought if it got there, we'd make him strain and get his arms full of blood and maybe take away some of the pop when we got back to the middle of the octagon. And the takedown, the plan was to be a mixed martial artist. It was the plan wasn't go out there, kick his leg, um, get a takedown. It was to do whatever's available, to use all of my weapons. That was the main thing preached throughout this whole training camp. To kick when I saw an opening, to punch when I saw an opening, throw elbows, to use my takedowns, to use my trips, to just show my full arsenal and try to beat him everywhere, chip away until an opportunity presented itself to end the fight. And in this one, it just presented itself a little sooner than I expected.
Were you surprised that, that lead leg was as exposed as it was throughout, even after those initial kicks? Like, were you expecting him to adjust?
In the heat of the moment, I wasn't really, I had no expectation from him to start making adjustments. I was just trying to fight and damage him. But I know from experience how bad those things hurt. And once that thing starts swelling and once you start feeling the pain from that, even when you check, it hurts. That's one of the most painful injuries I've ever had when I fought Jim Miller and he was calf kicking me. And that was a 3-round fight. So I knew if I just kept adding them up, I was making deposits and they were going to pay off.
One thing that I've seen analysts say over the past week is that he has changed his stance a little bit to a more conventional boxing style as opposed to
Look,
what he
dude,
had.
everybody's a damn analyst.
Yeah.
Everybody has something to say. This is motivated Connor. He loses. He's not. Oh, this was unmotivated Connor. He's not as loose as he used to be. He's more stiff now.
Mhm.
Everybody has something to say. I'm just. Those are all opinions to me, man. Like I've been preaching this whole damn training camp. That's all noise.
Right.
I knew who I was fighting, and I don't want to hear anybody else's breakdown of what they thought Connor looked like. Because if he would have starched me, everybody would be saying, "Wow, this is the best Connor's ever looked." So I don't give a.
I hear you. I was just curious. I was going to ask you if you agreed with that, if you agreed that he had changed his stance and if it was to his detriment.
Um, I think all of his fights, he's a little bit, a little bit different with the way he moves. Maybe he wasn't as open stanced as he was in some other fights, but I haven't done a side by side or a breakdown thing yet. I just go on Twitter and I see everybody's an expert.
Yeah.
Everybody's a body language expert. Everybody's saying I lost the fight before I walk out there. Get ready, Connor's in shape. He's more motivated he's ever been. And then I just this is the stuff that makes me not enjoy mixed martial arts.
What, all the opinions?
It's just all the opinions, and they don't mean anything. I know that,
Right.
but just everybody's ability to chime in and have something to say on the And I guess that's any sport, you know.
Right.
I'm just so tired of what people think, honestly.
Um, Speaking of that, one thing that really stuck with me is like literally seconds after the fight. I think you were talking to DC, and I think he confirmed that on Monday last week, where you said like, correct me if I didn't get the exact phrase correct, but like, didn't you say like I hate this or I hate this process or something to that effect? What did you mean by that? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I told him, I said, I don't even love this anymore.
Yeah, you just got this massive win. Why say that? What prompted you to say that?
Because the whole week I uh I felt that way. And it's been, lots of fights that I felt that way. Just the process. I start to like I just really don't enjoy the process. Everybody says you have to enjoy the process. I hate it. Only thing I like about mixed martial arts is the fight.
Hmm.
Of course, I enjoy the camaraderie and the the fun times and the training and being in the gym with my friends and working on new stuff. I enjoy all that stuff, but just the whole thing of the way media plays stuff and the way these articles are written up and the way the fan base is most of the time, um, it's just a turn off to me.
Is that
But
something like? Can you
I
pin?
love the actual act of fighting. I love
Okay.
one-on-one competition, the purity of it, the truth of it. That's what keeps me in love with this whole thing is that there's that. That's the light. That's the light at the end of the tunnel for me is that no matter what all these articles and all this other stuff and everybody even the way fighters are getting known nowadays talking trash and doing all this stuff, it's just so gross to me. I'm just so happy that fighting is always going to remain the truth. None of that stuff matters. What matters is the fight, and there's no hiding or faking that.
I was wondering if in the moment you meant like hurting another man, because this has happened to some fighters in the past. Like, even Ali talked about it towards the end of his career. Like he didn't want to hurt people anymore. Like,
No, I want to hurt these guys.
okay. All right. Do you remember when you started to feel this way? Like, was there something that made you start to feel this way about the game, the sport, if you will?
I'm not sure. It didn't like happen overnight. It's probably been just my entire career of being counted out. And um, when I flipped the switch to stop caring about all the media and stuff like that, that's maybe when it happened. Like I just so sick of all the stuff, all the opinions out there.
Okay. One last thing on
But
the
hey,
actual.
going back to that, I don't have a problem with damaging people. Trust me,
Okay.
that's not what I was
Gotcha.
talking about. But I do, I do respect these guys going in there. These guys, some of them have families as well, and I do pray before fights that me and my opponent both come out safe.
Mhm.
So I'm not that much of an asshole, but I am trying to hurt these guys. Yes.
I hear you. One last thing on the actual fight itself. Did it at all increase your confidence early on when you were taking his best shot and this wasn't 178 all over again? And, we all remember now an iconic moment, you pointing back at him when you hit him with a big shot. Like, did you feel like, all right, like this is not the same. I'm not the same guy. He's not the same guy. It's all good. Did you notice an increase in confidence once he landed some shots and, you didn't get rocked or dropped?
When I sat on the stool after the first round, I felt good and I was excited to start the second round. I felt like things were moving in the way I wanted it to. I felt good. Yeah, my confidence definitely was growing, but I don't know if it was from eating shots. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and those shots I got hit with were good shots.
What is it like when the fight is over and you're backstage and there's all this hysteria and he's back there and Chandler? Now I can almost feel like I can almost like see the bullseye already on you, and you feel, and then you got to go talk to the media and you got to answer. Like, what is that experience? Very few of us will ever experience that, right? You're on top of the world. You shocked a lot of people. Most watched pay-per-view of the year thus far and all that stuff. And I know we're in January, but it's probably by the end of the year going to be one of the most watched. You know what I'm talking about? Well over a million, and now you got to go through like that car wash and he's there and Chandler's there and Dana. What is that like for you? Does it like, can you even remember it, or is it dizzying?
Yeah, I would say I can't remember everything that happened, but it is like, you're still digesting what you just did, what you've been training to do for the last 10 weeks. You got that accomplished and you're just kind of it's a lot going on. It's kind of I remember everything, but it is like when I sit back and think about it, it's kind of blurry, man. It's a
Mm.
flash. It's crazy how quick you're here and there and how fast things happen.
Were you at all surprised with how cool he was about it? He seemed almost genuinely happy for you. There was a nice moment caught on camera between him and your wife. I thought it was awesome that your wife went back to thank him. Like there was no friction, no nothing. Like it was actually like kind of it was amazing to see the respect between you guys after all these years. Were you surprised at all? It's one thing to do that before the fight, but after the fight could be different.
You know.
Did that surprise you?
I'm not surprised by that, but you're correct, man. To do it before is one thing, and then to lose in that fashion, and then to still be that guy. Good for him. Um, Nothing but respect for the guy. He was very respectful all week, and he got knocked down, and it happens to all of us. And this guy's a champion, and the ground is no place for a champion. I've said it again, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. He'll rise if he wants to. He'll get back up, dust himself off, and see what's next. But he was very respectful all week, and that's all I got to say about it.
And so, speaking of what's next, here we are, 9 days removed. Have they reached out to you or your management yet about what they might want to do with you next? They, of course, being the UFC.
No, I haven't heard anything from them.
Are you surprised?
Kinda, but it's business, man. They'll reach out when they want something, when they want to fight, or when they have something. Maybe they haven't reached out because they don't have anything. They're still trying to figure it out. They need to have meetings and see what's next or whatever. I don't know the process with them.
Let's just say they call you up. I'm Dana White. Hey, Dustin, what do you want next? You're in the driver's seat. I mean, you're the, if Khabib is truly gone, you are the, most talked about man in the division. Everyone wants you, right? Everyone wants a piece of you. What do you want next?
We'll see. I don't know. I believe I'm the world champion right now. If Khabib's not fighting, I'm the world champion.
Would you like to be given the title if he says I'm done?
Well, given is a word I would never use. Uh, I don't want to be given anything. I have earned, and I want to
Right.
continue to earn everything I have.
But I guess what I meant was like if he leaves and he relinquishes the title, then obviously you would be one half of the vacant title fight. Would you want to be the champion going into that fight? Like basically, like, how they gave Ronda Rousey a belt before her debut. This is different, but you know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel like if he relinquishes it, it shouldn't be a vacant title fight. It should be Dustin's the champion now.
Well, if we're talking business, when you're the world champion, you get a pay-per-view share. So
Right.
that's a big difference.
There have been non-champions. Did you get pay-per-view for this one?
Listen, Ariel, I'm not asking you how much ESPN pays you.
No, no, no. I'm not asking for how much. I'm just saying, did you get a cut of the pie?
Me and my family are happy, man. I'm doing what I love
Okay.
to do and making a great living.
I think you deserve a cut of the pie, and there have been non-champions, as you know, Masvidal, Diaz, who have gotten a cut of the pie, and they've rewarded them with that. So I think you're very much in the right for asking for that. So you don't have a preference, like because we heard from Conor, right? Conor's coach told me last week they want you Trilogy fight for the belt. Obviously, there's Gaethje out there.
I'm not sure if the UFC would do that. Why wasn't that one for the belt? Politics? We're chasing Khabib, or what's going on here? Why wasn't that one for the belt? I have no clue what direction they're going to move in. Obviously, Gaethje's coming off a loss too, so I don't know we have Chandler and there's Oliveira. I need to go look at the rankings to see exactly the order that we're in now. I know I'm number one. I think Gaethje might be number two.
Yes, and then it's Charles, and then it's Chandler.
Right. I just don't think coming. There, it's happened in the UFC before, right? Somebody's come off of a loss and fought for the belt.
Plenty of times.
Right. So we'll see. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't want to.
You don't think they would do you versus Conor 3 for the belt? I could see them totally doing that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe so. I'll sit by my phone, continue to do what I'm doing, and when they call, we'll figure it out.
Would you be down
But
with that?
I have no clue. I mean, it's 1-1. I knocked him out. He knocked me out. A rubber match. It does make sense.
Would it be fair to say that your next fight has to be for a title? Like the title has to be involved, right? Whether or not you have it before or at stake, like that's a non-starter.
Right. I think, because coming off of a title loss, beating a top 5 guy, beating another top guy. Why wouldn't it be?
Right. I
Who
agree.
who else has put the resume together that I have in my last 6, 7 fights, whatever it's been, and also beating Conor, a 2-weight world champion, adds another former world champion to the list of guys that I've taken out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a handful of guys now too. I think I'm most deserving to be in a title fight out of these guys, but I don't know who it's going to be against, when, where, what's going on.
One thing that I wanted to ask you about was obviously we heard what you had to say about Chandler and you feeling like he should win a couple more before being in that conversation. And I was thinking, and I don't know if it went over people's heads, but I think some people were surprised that you were so like adamant about that. And I was wondering if it had anything to do with what happened in the fall, where basically you were trying to fight, you were in the negotiations to fight Tony, and then they didn't give you what you want, and then Tony kind of stood by your side, and then Chandler kind of got in between that. Like, do you hold any resentment towards him and feel like he should fight a few more, not only because he hasn't been around as long, but because he was kind of used as a wedge between you and Tony, and then ultimately neither of you got to fight?
I'm not sure if it's that deep. I think it's more that I just he beat a guy I already beat,
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna put him in a title fight. Why wasn't my fight a title fight just now? I beat the same guy last year. I don't like to play too much into all that stuff or think too much about it, because I can draw conclusions and make things up that aren't even, we don't know what's going on.
Right. One name we haven't talked about, which I have to ask you about, obviously, is Nathan Diaz, because he isn't always usually very clear about what he wants, and I think he's pretty clear that he wants you. He posted the picture. I'm sure you saw his
Ready
tweet and
for
all
your
that.
ass. I
What's
read it in his voice.
what do you make of that one? That option?
It's exciting. It's fun. Those are the kind of fights that I want to be part of, man. Fights that are exciting to me and that I'm motivated to get up and bust my ass every day. And that's exciting. That's a guy I grew up watching. A guy who's still a very big name. Um, that's it. That's an exciting fight. I think the fans would be in for a great fight if that one happened.
So you'd be open
Does it
to it
make
as well?
sense? Does it make sense in the lightweight division? No. Does it make sense where I'm at, standing in the door front of a title shot? No. But it's a fun fight, and this is entertainment, and this is fighting. So
you'd be open to it?
before I move past the Conor trilogy and get too far ahead of myself, I'm open to fights that excite me, and this one excites
Gotcha.
me. Yeah.
Would it be fair? I just want to make sure I'm 100% clear. Would it be fair to say Connor Trilogy is at the top of the list?
I want to be the world champ, man. That, I don't want to. I saw like a couple of reporters texting me and asking me stuff about, like, because I said I'm not in love with this no more. That doesn't mean that I'm not damn good at it.
Mm-hmm.
I do love the fight. I just don't like a lot of other stuff about this business, but I do love the fight. So people have been messaging me, asking me, "Hey, have we seen the last of you?" Dude, I'm in my prime. I'm 32. I just turned 32 years old, and I feel great. My physical and mental are finally on the same level, and I feel great. So I just want to get clear the air. I am not by any means retired or thinking about retirement. I just in a position in my career where I want to be excited and I want fights that make sense. And I've cut my teeth and paid my dues and done everything you can to get in this position. And that's just it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to fight it unless it's exciting and it makes sense to me. Otherwise, these guys can fight each other and I'll watch.
Do you have a preference when you return? Like what month?
I'm healthy. I have zero, I'd like some time to be home with my family. We're building a new house. I'd like to be hands-on with some of that at the beginning of it. I just spent 9 weeks out in South Florida, but I'm not in a rush. But if something comes up, we'll see. I'm open to whatever. I'm healthy. I just got to be excited, and it's got to make sense, and I'm in.
What was the reception like back home? I saw you got a few of those cakes, which I
Oh
love.
man,
The king cake, right?
yeah, king cakes. I've eaten a few of them. They were dropping them off and knocking on my door. I woke up the day after I got home, walked outside and hit my foot on a box that somebody else left on my porch. Uh,
So just
it's
like
awesome, man.
random people
Yeah,
just dropping this off?
yeah.
Wow, that is amazing. How many do you think you got?
4 or 5.
That's amazing. And some of them you don't even
I
know. You don't even know who these people are.
Yeah, right.
Wow. And when you go around town, are people recognizing you and saying, you know,
Yeah, but before this fight, I mean, Lafayette, Louisiana, I carried on my back. So before this fight, if I go to the grocery store, I'm talking to people and getting
right.
recognized often. But now after such a big win, where the whole city was out and cheering, it's definitely more now. I
Mm,
actually had like a people waiting in the neighborhood for when I pulled up. Everybody was outside. There was cops with their sirens on, and
wow.
there's a big poster up in front of my neighborhood that says "Welcome back, congratulations on a big win." But I got a funny story, man. Me and my wife fly from Abu Dhabi to Vegas, then from Vegas to Dallas, Dallas to Lafayette. So I've probably been 20 something hours in the air during that day. Just exhausted. We get home. I wanted to see my property because we poured our slab to where we're building a house. So it's nighttime. Me and my wife drive to the property, and the driveway and everything's not poured yet. Just the slab of the home is. So we get stuck in her car.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, this is right out the airport after traveling all day. I'm exhausted. I'm like, man, I'm back in Louisiana for sure. I pull my pants up. It rained earlier, so I got mud all over my knees and shins up. It looks like I was walking through swamps. I get back home and I didn't clean my feet off. There's no hose or anything out there. So I get all the way back to my house and people are waiting for me outside. I hop out the car with my pants rolled up, mud to my knees. I'm like, damn, dude, people are taking pictures. This is awesome. This is Louisiana.
Yeah. I guess it's like you come right back down to reality, right? You're on top of the world and then you got to push your car out of mud. That's incredible.
Exactly.
When you come off a plane, off a win like that, and you go to your dream house that you're building in your hometown, that has to be a pretty emotional moment, right? Like this is your life coming together.
Yeah, it feels good, man. It really feels good because I did it the right way and no corners have been cut, and it just hits different, whenever you've done it in blood. Nothing was given to me. So I'm very thankful to be where we're at.
A lot of people talk about, like the Conor fight and maybe even Michael Johnson and whatnot. I've been looking for this clip. I can't find it. I don't think it's online anywhere, unfortunately, because it aired on TV. I don't even know if you remember it, but something was posted last week that reminded me of it. Fairfax, Virginia, after the Korean Zombie fight, I was working for Fuel TV, and obviously that was a big fight, a potential number one contender fight at 145, and unfortunately you lost. I don't even know if you know or remember, but like you came back to speak to us to do the post-fight interview. And do you remember how emotional you were? Like you can hardly speak. You were so emotional. You were crying a lot. And I remember just being so impressed that you even spoke to us. Cause as you know, like when you lose a fight like that, a lot of people don't speak, and that's totally normal. But then you could think like, oh, maybe this is gonna break a guy. Maybe he's taking this so hard, you don't know if he's ever gonna come back. Do you remember that guy? Do you remember how you handled that? And to see how far you came, I mean, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I remember being emotional after that loss. Um, for a few days, I remember laying on the couch, just being upset and sad. But that's fight game.
Yeah, you have had those moments, and I think that's why everyone's so happy for you now, because we have seen, you wear your heart on your sleeve through the ups and downs, and now to see you cash in, if you will, and to see you get this big moment of the respect that you deserve, is a pretty amazing thing. You even got guys like Jake Paul calling you out. You've made it, Dustin. This is
I
big.
made it. I made it.
You gonna spar him?
I'm not sure. I
I
don't
don't
know when
know.
I'm going back to South Florida. I saw he's over there. He's out in South Florida.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, he threw out the offer for you to spar him before his fight against Ben.
I mean, I don't know if that's an offer.
You think it's just more for the internet?
Maybe so. That's these guys love, and the media and the fan base and stuff. That's what counting followers and all that stuff. That's what I hate about this.
Right.
I
Right.
love the old school. I love the old school, man.
I feel like
Just
you're taking.
bleed.
I feel. Are you saying you hate me right now? I feel like that's what you're saying. Is that what you're saying?
No, I love you, man. You're a
Okay.
great guy.
All right. Media, we kind of get all sensitive. You paint us with the same brush. All right. So where do you go
I'm
from
sure.
here?
Well, we'll see. We'll see when this interview comes out. We'll see what
Uh-oh.
headlines you crop and
Oh, come
put
on.
stuff together in this thing. I can't wait. When you put this out, it's going to say Dustin Poirier calls out Jake Paul and Nate
No.
Diaz.
First of all, I don't make the headlines, just for the record, or
Okay.
pick the
All right. Yeah,
clips.
you said
But
you're keeping yourself safe. You're doing damage control before this thing even comes out right now.
No, no, no. I'm just saying.
Daniel
Listen,
Cormier makes the headlines probably. He's
he
working with you,
does.
right? Yeah.
Hey, by the way, when Daniel Cormier wins a big fight, he doesn't get to parade around Lafayette. He goes to his palace in California. All right. So talk about forgetting where you came from. I mean, really,
Right.
he's
I
probably
know.
super jealous
I
of you right
know.
now.
I know. He goes back to his gated neighborhood in California.
So where do you go from here? You're going to take some time off and just kind of wait. You don't have to call the UFC up, right? You're just going to let them call you
Yeah,
when
I'm
they're
not
ready.
calling. Yeah, whenever they're ready, we'll see what's next. I'm not sure if they've started having their matchmaker meetings and all the stuff that they do to start planning out the coming months. But I've trained. I've been in the gym one time since my fight. I went out to Tim Crater's gym here in Lafayette, Louisiana, and trained with some buddies. And this week I'm going to start moving around a little bit more and just take it one day at a time, man. I had a week of eating and being unhealthy. Now I need to get back to healthy body, healthy mind, and see what's next, man. Taking it one day at a time, spending time with my daughter. I'm taking her up on a snow trip in a couple weeks, and I'm just back to being dad.
Where you started with Tim Crater back in the Fightville days. That's full
Yeah.
circle right there. Man, at some point life resumes and everything goes back to normal. You have to headline a show at the Smoothie King Center or something, right? I mean,
Yeah, I got to fight Yancy Medeiros there a
but
few years back
you weren't in the
at the
spot. Like
Smoothie
you
King.
imagine you headlining a show there. How great would that be?
No, it'd be incredible. Let's do the title fight, or let me defend the belt, or something. Let me get a super fight. Let's do it in New Orleans, Louisiana, man. That would be great.
All right. Well, Dustin, I appreciate the time. Thank you very much. Good luck with what is to come. You got a lot of options out there, and I think the way you're handling it is the right way. So good luck to you, and thanks as always for coming on to talk to me.
My pleasure, man. Thank you.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.